my dears, go ahead and finish up that topic. Gonna give you a few more minutes. Hopefully you can finish up 1 through 6 on page 315 if you haven't already, and then we're gonna go over those few before moving on. I'm gonna be on page 315 in 2 minutes. You're not there already. Finishing that 1 through 6 up. All right, my dears. If you're not done, be sure you're following along. I'm gonna go over it both ways. So one way they told us is that we could divide them both by what's being multiplied through the parentheses. So if we divide both sides by 4, we're at x plus 8 is equal to 11. And then we're simply subtracting 8 from both sides. So x would be equal to 3. Or you may have distributed through. You may have said 4 times x is 4x, 4 times 8 is 32 equals 44. So one of these ways, hopefully you went through so that you could get the answer. So 4x is equal to, is that 12? Divide both sides by 4. Again, x has to be the same in both cases because it's the same equation we're solving for x, right? So x should equal 3 one way or the other. Again, you can either divide both sides by 7. So x plus 8 is equal to 7. Subtract 8 from both sides. X equals -1. Or you could have distributed your 7 through. Which way are you guys liking more? Do you like dividing straight off the bat, or do you like distributing and then solving the two-step equation? Dividing straight off the bat. I think sometimes it's easier. Sometimes, though, you might have a number that's not divisible by that, so you might want to rethink that, right? So this is -7. So x equals -1 here as well, which is what we are expecting, of course. Divide both sides by -2. X plus 4 equals -9. Subtract 4, subtract 4. X equals -13. Or you could have said -2x minus 8 equals 18. Add 8 to both sides. -2x equals 26. Divide both sides by -2. So x is equal to -13. So you did not have to show both ways, but it's good that you know how to do both ways. Again, starting off by dividing, you end up with x minus 5 is equal to -8. Add 5 to both sides. So x is equal to -3. Or you can distribute 10x minus 50 is equal to -80. So you would add 50 to both sides. 10x is equal to -30. Divide by 10, so you have 1x is equal to -3. Now I understand I'm going pretty quickly because these are ones you should have been doing already, right? So hopefully you're on page 315 with us going over your hard work from yesterday. So divide both sides by -5. X minus 10 is equal to 7. Add 10, add 10. X equals 17. -5x plus 50 is equal to -35. Subtract 50. So -5x is equal to -85. When we divide by a -5, it does indeed become 17. Whew. We haven't even learned anything today. We're just reviewing. I'm already tired. Right? If only we had time to waste. Divide both sides by -9. We end up with x minus 4 equals -9. Add 4, add 4. So x we expect to equal -5. Doing it the other way, -9x plus 36. Careful of your signs there. Subtract 36. -9x is equal to 45. Divide by -9. So x does equal -5. Those are all nice ones. So you do have like 2 to 4 problems just like these on your quiz on Tuesday. Got some one-step equations, some regular 2-step equations, and then you've got to write some equations. So that is where we're kind of going to go today. So we are looking at page 317. If you don't have page 317, you may need 6-5. Anybody need 6-5? Yeah, I need 6-5 in height. Okay, it would be fun to be 6'5" in height. All right, so again, some real world situations can be modeled by 2-step equations of this form that we've been looking at. Mr. Vargas takes his class of 24 students ice skating. Each student pays an entrance fee to enter the rink and a $4.75 fee rather to rent skates. The total cost for the students to enter the rink and rent skates is $234. So we have to figure out what is the ice skating rink's entrance fee. So we know how many students are going is 24 times the total cost for each student. We know the total cost is something, right? The entrance fee plus the rental fee. So we know something. What are we going to call that something? Looks like they're going to give it F for a fee. The entrance fee plus this rental times the number of students is equal to that 234. So that's what they're saying here. 24 times the total cost for each student is 234. So if we let F represent the entrance fee, we know each student is paying F plus that $4.75 rental. So that's why we would translate it to the number of students, which is 24, times the amount they have to pay is equal to the total fee for everyone. Does that make sense? Yep. You could divide both sides by what? 24. So here, when we're talking money, I would say snag a calculator. 234 divided by 24 is $9.75 is equal to something plus what we already know they're paying in fee. So then I would subtract the skate rental fee from both sides, and they're ending up paying how much for entering? No, they're paying $4.75 for the rental. Their fee is $5. Because $9.75 minus the rental fee is that. So we first had to figure out how much total each student was paying, or the total cost per person instead of total cost for everyone, and then we take away what the skate rental fee was. All right. So write and solve two-step equations. Mackenzie drives the same distance to and from school each day. She also drives 1 3/4 miles round trip each day to go to the library. During a 5-day school week, Mackenzie drives a total of 50 miles. Write and solve an equation to determine the total distance to and from school. So she drives the same distance to and from school. We don't know what it is, but we can give it a variable. That distance we can just call D, right? We know she's also driving this, and we know this total times the 5 is equal to the 50. So in words, 5 times the total distance, right, to and from school and the library trip equals 50 miles. So if we let D represent the total distance to and from school and add that to the total distance she drives to the library, we have to write an equation. So we know the total miles round trip for the week is 50, right? They divided this into each day. So she drives to and from school each day and to and from the library, which we know. So each one of these becomes D plus 1 3/4, right? Oh my gosh. My brain is going too fast. Plus 1 3/4. So this is how they came up with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of these. So 5 times this is equal to that. So this one isn't so bad to solve, and in fact, they're doing it for us. But you are not going to have rational numbers. You're not going to have fractions or decimals on your quiz, okay? So should you be able to set this up? Yes. If you have to solve it, if you have to solve something with rational, it would just be in the money form. So with decimals, you can definitely use your calculator for, right? So the distance to and from school each day is 8 1/4 miles. That's how they solved it, right? They divided both sides by 5. They subtracted how much the round trip to the library was to get round trip to school. All right, let's just be sure we know how to set this equation up. At least get through part A here. Mrs. Byers is making 5 costumes that each require 1 3/8 yards of blue fabric and a certain amount of red fabric. So what do you think we want to know? How much? Yes. So we could call it R. It looks like they want us to call it. So we know 5 times what plus R? We know how much blue. So 1 3/8 plus R is equal to how much she's using in all. So you're just looking for that here. Right? So we would divide this by 5. I'd probably just change this to a decimal, divide by 5, and then I would subtract 1 3/8 from it. All right, here are some that you can actually be expected to do and see, writing them as a 2-step. Jamal and 2 cousins received the same amount of money to go to a movie together. Each boy spent 15. Afterward, they had this much together. So there's 2 boys, right? Oh, Jamal and 2 cousins. So how many are there actually? 3 boys times the same amount. We don't know what that same, yes, this is 320. We don't know how much they had, but they're subtracting $15 because each of them spent that. And we know how much they had after they spent that. We're trying to see how much they had to begin with. So I would do, in here we have how much they started with minus how much they spent. So they wrote this equation. They divided both sides by 3. They got rid of the constant to see how much they received. How much was it? $25. All right, try that check on the bottom of 320, and then we're going to move on to practice a few of these on our own. Remember, we usually have to read through it a few times. Mr. Singh had 3 sheets of stickers. He gave 20 from each sheet to his students and has 12 total stickers left. So we know it's going to be equal to what? 12. And of course, these are all equal to 12. We know he gave 20 away, so we know we're subtracting 20 from something, and we want to know how much was on each one. We want to know how many stickers. So this is what he's taking from each sheet, and this is what he has left, but how many sheets did he have? 3. So I've got to multiply that by 3. So which one of those would work? And then solve for the number of stickers. Okay. Yeah, no problem. Sorry, it's office real quick, honey. So now that you know it's A, write it out and solve it, right? Use that margin if you need to. I know they didn't give you much space to show work here. 3 times S minus 20 is equal to 12. What are you going to do first, guys?
subtract the 3 or not subtract.
I can either divide both sides by this to get rid of the 3, or I can distribute it through. Which would you prefer? Now you gotta solve. Is it 24? The other way dividing by 3 gives us s minus 20 is equal to 4. And then I would add 20 to both sides. So s would be equal to 24, right? Now we get lots of practice. So I would say you can set up 1 and 2. Don't worry about solving. I would definitely try, since this is a decimal, to do all of the rest though. So set up these 2. Set up, right? Set up your problems here, and then set up and solve the others. Even try number 8. So that's page 323. If you're like, where did she go? We got lots of time to think through. Remember, you have to write an equation and then solve it. You guys probably don't need to have your Chromebooks open at this point. They should all be closed. You got a good